You know that feeling, right? You send this perfectly crafted, thoughtful message, you see the little red receipt pop up, and then just nothing. Crickets. You get that awful sinking feeling right in the pit of your stomach, and suddenly your anxiety just spikes. Well, it turns out you're really not just overreacting. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're jumping straight into something that is literally hardwired into our biology. The pain of being ignored is not just some fleeting insecurity or you being overly emotional. It is a profoundly deep psychological and physical event. We're going to explore the fascinating science behind social rejection. Why does feeling left out sting so incredibly badly? And honestly, more importantly, why is the human brain built to crave social connection with such absolute desperation? The answer actually lies way beneath the surface of our modern everyday interactions. It's hiding right there in the very structure of our biology.
So let's really dive into this. To understand why we have this intense, almost panicked reaction to being ignored, we've got to rewind the evolutionary clock. Think about it. Long before our modern cities, before we cared about our job titles or our online profiles, we were, and honestly fundamentally still are, pack animals. From a strictly biological standpoint, the whole science of loneliness and belonging, it's literally a matter of life and death. Back in our hunter-gatherer days, if you got ostracized from the group, that meant you lost access to shared food, you lost protection, you lost shelter. Isolation wasn't just a bummer, it was quite literally a death sentence. And because of that harsh reality, our brains evolved to view social inclusion not just as some nice-to-have bonus, but as an absolute, non-negotiable biological necessity. It's exactly like our need for food and water. We just don't exist in a vacuum. We live in this constant, incredibly complex web of relationships. Our entire psychological architecture is built right on top of this foundation. So every single glance, every conversation, and especially every deliberate silence is constantly being evaluated by our primal brain. It's always looking for signs of belonging or, terrifyingly, signs of exile.
So the crucial takeaway here is that we don't just dislike being left out. No, we absolutely hate it. Being ignored goes against literally every single survival imperative we possess. But what's actually going on inside your head when someone gives you the cold shoulder? Well, neuroimaging studies have found something absolutely mind-blowing. Social rejection activates the exact same neural pathways in your brain as actual physical pain. There's this specific region called the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, and it lights up the exact same way whether you've just sprained your ankle or you've just been deliberately cut out of a conversation. I mean, rejection literally physically hurts. To put that into perspective, studies have actually shown that taking an over-the-counter physical painkiller, like Tylenol, can genuinely reduce the emotional ache of being ignored. That is just how deeply, inextricably intertwined our physical and social nervous systems really are. Now, fast forward to today. Our modern environment has basically weaponized this biological quirk. Social media drastically amplifies this ancient fear of being ignored. The anxiety of getting 0 likes on a post or watching those 3 little typing dots just disappear without a reply, that triggers the exact same primal alarm bell. And while everyone experiences this, some folks have what's called heightened rejection sensitivity. This basically means their neural alarm bells ring way louder and way faster. For them, the modern digital landscape is just an absolute minefield for their ancient nervous systems.
But here's the good news. Understanding all of this science actually gives us a totally powerful tool for dealing with being ignored in a really healthy way. When that familiar sting hits you, you can take a step back and recognize it for exactly what it is, a biological false alarm. You are no longer going to starve in the wilderness just because an acquaintance didn't reply to your email. By just acknowledging that this pain is an evolutionary relic, we can start to decouple our own self-worth from the momentary silence of other people. Being left on red, it is not a reflection of your true value. It's simply your brain trying, maybe just a little too hard, to keep you alive. And honestly, keeping that in mind builds this deep sense of empathy, both for ourselves and for the people around us when those inevitable social missteps happen. So bringing this fundamental premise right back to you, when was the last time you truly felt the silence? And I don't mean sitting in a peaceful, quiet room. I mean that deafening, heavy silence of being completely unacknowledged. The next time you find yourself stuck in that intensely uncomfortable space, how is this newfound understanding of your own mind going to